Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Emmy, and I'm here with my very first in person interview. This is author WD Laremore, and he writes science fiction slash paranormal romance. I have three questions, and I hope you guys enjoy my first interview, and sorry if I mess up. My first question is, what got you into writing?
I've always been into writing my whole life. I think that my parents reading to me a lot when I was younger, and then eventually going to movies and stuff, kind of got me into the habit of making up stories in my own mind. And then I love being a storyteller, especially telling jokes and making people laugh, which is kind of weird because none of my stories are actually that funny. But yeah, so I just end up having these stories banging around in my head, and sometime around 2010, I realized that like it was time to start getting them out of my head and onto paper. So I actually, you know, sat down and started writing them. And my first book, first draft, came out in about 10 months of just sitting down and getting it done. And then after that, I was just sort of hooked.
Okay, so what does your writing process look like? Do things just come to you when you least expect it, or do you actually sit down and think and go through a whole process?
Usually, if I'm driving on a long drive, that's when ideas come to me. I usually am listening to music or thinking about something, and then I get inspired by something else, and then sort of ideas just sort of build on each other, and then that turns into an outline, and then I just start writing. And I usually try to start at the beginning and then write the first draft as soon as possible so that it's all cohesive. And then I go back at some point later, and then I re-revise it after I've let it sit for a little while, and then start cutting things out and revising and editing and stuff like that.
So, how long does the process usually take from start to finish?
Usually, a book takes me about 4 years. So, I feel bad, like, because pricing is kind of like a weird thing to try to decide for someone that's an indie author like us, because no one's ever heard of you before, and they're probably not likely to pay more than $1 for your book. But at the same time, 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears go into a book, and it's kind of hard to charge only $1 too. So I try to find a happy medium between what I would really want to charge and what someone might be willing to charge. I know pricing isn't really what you were asking me about, but at the same time, I write and I publish because I like to tell stories and entertain people and make people feel feelings and learn things and whatever like that. So if I can make a couple of bucks, great. That's just a bonus. But really, it's about finding new readership and making connections with people. And who knows, you never know how people receive the writing that you put out there. So, you could be changing someone's life even if you never find out about it. You could be having a positive impact on somebody.
Right, that's a good way of putting it. I didn't think about it that way. My last question for you is, what kind of legacy do you want to leave? What do you want people to remember you and your books for?
Um, I want my books and I to be remembered for being positive examples of kindness and um, logic and I'm very, like, as a science fiction writer, I'm very much into like the human curiosity of the world around us, and so there's themes of exploration, but um, I think a bigger theme for me in all of my writing, regardless of whether it's paranormal romance or time travel or whatever, there's always a heroic element. And so the three words that come to mind for me are whatever it takes. And that's something that I want my kids to learn. And that's something that I want to pass on to my readers is that, what makes us human is that we're created by our ability to overcome any kind of challenges or roadblocks that we come across. And a lot of times it becomes a situation of whatever it takes, whatever you got to do to overcome that challenge. Because in reality, you know, it's kind of cliche, but it's true. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So when you make it through a storm, when you get that promotion, when you survive cancer, whatever your struggle may be, there's always going to be a positive outcome for you. There's always going to be some kind of silver lining, and it's important to recognize that the real hero that you've been waiting for is really the hero that you should be becoming yourself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your answers, and I appreciate all the detail that you went into for your answers. And if you guys want to check out his books, the link will be in the description. And thank you again for